Folks who went before us blazed a trail through history. The heritage they left behind is part of you and me. All the dreams they still live on, and it makes me proud to be a living, breathing part of it all, the American legacy.
How do you begin to describe a desert-like region? I'm not sure. I suppose I could start by saying that here in Death Valley, California, you'd have to get used to seeing endless sand and rock, broken only by low-lying creosote or mesquite bushes. Everywhere around you there are mountains, always mountains in the distance, rising up from the low desert basins that make up this area. Here at this point in the valley, you can actually stand some 282 feet below sea level. Here also you can experience extremely hot temperatures, well over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the summertime. The record going on up to a sizzling 134 degrees, recorded way back in 1913. But low elevations and hot temperatures don't always describe a desert region. What's missing here in southeastern California is moisture. It simply doesn't rain much here in Death Valley or in the Mojave Desert south of here. Less than 3 to 4 inches during the entire year, and in some parts, not even a ½ an inch. The mountains that divide off these desert regions do a good job of blocking out possible moisture coming in from the ocean, making most of it fall as rain or snow on the coastal side of the many ranges. For hundreds of years, this desert and the surrounding mountains were like a natural barrier to explorers and settlers alike. It was nature's way of keeping people out of this region, except, of course, for scattered groups of Indians who long ago learned how to adapt to such a climate. One tribe, in fact, the Mojave, who lived on the edge of this great desert, had never seen a white man until 1826. In October of that year, a small hunting expedition led by a tall, gaunt figure suddenly appeared one day outside the Indian encampment. The leader of this party was a man named Jedediah Smith.
Jedediah Smith was a brave adventurer, living outdoors and trapping for fur. His footsteps cover all the western land. He crossed mountains and plains, and even an ocean of sand, even an ocean of sand.
He was the first white man to cross South Pass westward and recognize it as the trail that later would take settlers across the Rocky Mountains to Oregon land. He was the first to go from Missouri overland to California, the first to cross the Sierra Nevada mountains, the first to attempt and finally cross the great Mojave Desert.
They were eating dry dust and drinking their tears. 15 days seemed like 15 years.
Finally, on November 26th, having been without food and water for several days, the men staggered up and over the San Bernardino Mountains and into the broad green valley below. The Mojave Desert had finally been crossed.
Nothing could stop them, not even an ocean of sand, not even an ocean of sand.
Today that crossing is done in only a few hours' time, driving in air-conditioned cars on smooth superhighways. And if you can't find water on the desert, then you bring it to the desert. What a difference water can make. Nowhere is there a better example of this than here in the southernmost part of California. 1 mile from where I'm standing is the international border between the United States and Mexico. The state of California on this side, the country of Mexico on that side. Running for some 80 miles inside the California border is an engineering marvel. It's called the All-American Canal. It was built to bring water from the Colorado River some 80 miles away to a farming valley here in southeastern California. In the early 1900s, before the canal was built, the valley looked like this, a barren, empty, desert wasteland. With water, it began to bloom into a farmer's paradise. Its name, Imperial Valley. At first sighting, it's rather hard to believe that these thousands of acres of farmland depend entirely upon water brought to this valley by the All-American Canal. It also takes some time for those of us who don't live here to understand that every home, every business, every school, playground, and park wouldn't be here if it were not for that canal and its daily supply of water from this, the Colorado River. This great waterway, now backed up with giant hydroelectric dams, has long been the only major source of river water available to much of the southwest part of our country. Towns, cities, even entire states have depended heavily upon the river, not only for drinking water, but for irrigation water as well. No wonder states like Colorado, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, and California all fight for their water rights to the Colorado River. Here in Imperial Valley, such water rights were secured long ago. Today, the irrigation system keeps some 700 farmers busy bringing water to row upon row of valley crops. Even young people get to help out. For Richard Sanchez, though, it's a chore he doesn't mind.
After my father has ordered water from the division office, I help out when I can to draw the water through the siphon gates and start it into the fields. It's really not that hard once you get the hang of it.
John, to let water into this ditch, I have to pry this gate open. Once I open it up, then you put the gate pin in.
Okay. Ordering water? Imagine ordering water like you would tickets to a football game or even a pizza pickup. And yet that's exactly what happens. You merely pick up the telephone and call the Irrigation District's central office, which controls the flow of all water into the valley.
Good morning, water clerk.
Hello, Marge. This is Brownie Luker. I'm here in Sam's office, and I'd like to order some water for tomorrow on Alameda's Gate 27.
Okay, how much water do you need?
I think I need about 4 feet for tomorrow for my lettuce field.
4 feet tomorrow on Alameda's 27 for your lettuce field. Yes, I think we can deliver that. The Sand Harrow will return to your gate in 24 hours to close it.
Okay, that's real good. By the way, has the price gone up yet?
No, it hasn't. It's still $7.50 per acre foot, and you're billed at the end of every month.
Real good. Thanks a lot, Marge.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
An acre foot of water is just what it suggests. Enough water to cover an acre of land to a depth of 1 foot. It has taken some 10 acre-feet of water spread over 3 winter months of growing time to bring this head of lettuce to harvest size. And yet this is but one of 2 crops grown on this farm during the year. 5 months from now, some 70 to 80,000 melons, ripe, tasty cantaloupes, will be harvested from these same 80 acres of land. Adequate water, specially treated soil, and a 12-month growing season here in the desert. No wonder Imperial Valley has become one of the most productive agricultural areas in our country. The variety of what grows here and where it is shipped is amazing, especially during our winter months. Much of what is produced here in the Imperial Valley stays right here in California to help feed the population living in and around this 3rd largest city in our country, a metropolis of over 3 million people. You and I know it better as Los Angeles, California, settled by the Spanish at the very same time that our 13 colonies were fighting for their independence on the other side of this continent. Then, Los Angeles looked like this, a tiny pueblo of but 11 families, struggling to make their living off their nearby irrigated land. 8 miles away was the center of their religious life, the mission of San Gabriel, established in 1769. It was here that Jedediah Smith would make his way to stop and rest after having crossed the Mojave Desert in 1826. It was also here that Smith would see firsthand what Father Junipero Serra and his Franciscan monks had accomplished. Coming north from Mexico, they established the chain of 21 missions along the coast and valleys of California. Here were the beginning efforts to colonize this far-off corner of the world. By 1900, people from every part of our country would begin to discover Southern California and particularly the Los Angeles area. The reasons? Good agricultural land, a new railroad, the discovery of oil, and the building of a seaport. Today, this city has become an industrial giant, spreading itself over some 460 square miles of now very valuable land. Surprisingly, to those of us who don't live here, the biggest problem facing this city and its future is not the freeway system, or the number of automobiles, or even the smog that often blankets the area. Rather, it is something much more basic: water. A continuing source and supply of water. Like the Imperial Valley south and east of here, Los Angeles and the many cities surrounding it are located in a rather dry region with only 10 to 12 inches of rain falling in the year's time. And there are only limited amounts of underground water which can be pumped upward into existing reservoirs. Hence, the city of LA must depend heavily upon sources of water outside its boundaries. In fact, 80% of it comes down those penstocks and the Cascade Channel next to it, all the way from the Owens Valley in the Sierra Nevada mountains, some 330 miles away. Early in the 1900s, Los Angeles water officials quietly began buying up land here in the Owens Valley. With that land came the right to so many shares of water of the Owens River that flowed through the valley. Today, the city water department owns virtually all the land in Owens Valley and all the rights to its water, thus making sure that the people of Los Angeles will have enough water. And yet it isn't enough, at least according to local water officials. Well, then why not use this ocean water close by? Right now, it's simply too costly to desalt ocean water to remove its 4 to 5% salt content. To meet the continuing growth of this city, water officials argue that new sources of water must be brought from Northern California's mountains and rivers, south to Los Angeles, through a giant system of canals and aqueducts. Other people argue that it's time to limit the growth of cities as large as Los Angeles. Even young people here have their viewpoint.
I don't think you can stop the growth of cities this big by limiting the water they get. After all, LA does have the legal right to the Owens Valley water, and without it, we would soon become a desert area. I don't see anything wrong with giving water rights to the greatest number of people to do the greatest good.
I think most of us forget there'll never be any more water in the world than there is right now. I also think cities, like LA, don't have the right to go out of their city limits to get more water just so they can continue to grow. I remember when we lived in a farm in the Central Valley of California. My father had quite a problem getting enough water. I don't see why small towns and farms should have to give up part of their water just so big cities can grow even bigger.
What do you think? After all, many other regions of our country face this very problem. In the future, it may well be your problem, too.